Hi everybody, today we'll be going over post-production audio. That is everything that happens once you're done recording and ready to edit your audio for your film. Today I am working in ProTools, which is a DAW or digital audio workstation. There's many different audio applications that you can work in, such as Adobe Audition, Audacity, or you can also do your audio work directly in Premiere Pro or your video editing software. All of the concepts covered today here in Pro Tools are transferable to any of those audio editing applications. Today we'll be looking at a short segment from the film The Most Desirable. This is a film that I worked on and got released under 640 Films in 2020. We'll start with watching through this clip and then we'll break down everything that you hear.
So I know I don't have a lot of, internship experience, but I think I make up for that with what I've done in my own time.
Yes, we love self-starters. They're the foundation of our company.
Oh, cool.
The best thing about this line of work is you get to be your own boss.
Oh yeah? And what is it that you guys do again?
Well, as a part of Insignia, you would be selling these door to door.
What? Wait, is this a pyramid scheme?
As you can see, this is a relatively simple clip consisting of two people having dialogue, speaking to each other with some background music playing. There's also one sound effect, which is the spoons getting set down at the end of the short sequence. For a quick breakdown of the screen and everything that you're seeing, you have your video in the top right here. You have your timeline and controls up in the top left here. You have your track list on the left-hand side, along with your groups. You have all of your tracks in the center of your screen. You also have your timeline or your clock line that can show your time code. You also have your general clip list on the right-hand side over here. You'll notice all of the tracks on the left-hand side here are labeled, and that matches all of the tracks that are here on the right. These tracks are the same ones that are listed, and it's a way for you to help be organized. When you have a larger project with more tracks, you're able to jump back and forth throughout your project. While looking at the edit window and for each track, you'll see you have your track name, the ability to mute, solo, or record and enable your track, as well as the ability to add an effect or change the routing of the track. From the edit window, you can also adjust the audio level of the track itself, along with the panning, left or right. We're going to go ahead and start with muting everything but our dialogue audio tracks. So to do that, I know that I have two tracks for my boom pole audio. So that's my audio that was recorded with a shotgun microphone on a boom pole. So I'm going to go ahead and solo those two tracks to make sure that everything else is muted. You'll also see here that I have soloed the bus that the tracks are heading out to. Busing is just a way to route and organize your audio. Upon playback of the audio, you'll now hear that we are only hearing the dialogue. No more music and no more ambient noise.
So I know I don't have a lot of, internship experience, but I think I make up for that with what I've done in my own time.
You'll notice we missed that last word yes of one of our actors, so we're going to make sure that we have the lav track enabled as well. Lav tracks are typically used when the boom audio is not a high enough quality.
My own time.
Yes, we love self-starters. They're the foundation of our company.
Oh, cool.
The best thing about this line of...
Now you can hear we have all of our audio track playing. When I was shooting this scene, I was the only audio person on set. That means that there was only one boom operator. Even though there was only one boom operator, there are two boom tracks. That's because I broke the audio apart by the different scenes and the different sequences. That allows me to have more control over my automation and the individual clips, and it's a simple sorting technique that I like to use when I'm working with audio. To continue that sorting, I'm going to go ahead and break this clip into two individual pieces, the same way you would break up any video file, and then drag it down onto my second boom track. All that's doing is moving the file onto a different track, which helps me stay organized when I'm editing.
Done in my own time.
Yes, we love self-starters. They're the foundation of our company.
You'll notice there's no difference in the sound now that I dragged the audio down to the second track. You'll also notice that as I play back this sequence here, even though we have the dialogue coming from the two different actors and they're on the left and right hand side of the screen, I'm not actually panning their audio. You always want to make sure to listen back to your audio with headphones on so that way you can hear the panning and the placement of each sounds. Panning is the placing of a sound in a stereo sound space. That means that you can pan the audio to the left or to the right. Right now we're going to hear the audio where the actor on the left is panned to the left and the actor on the right is panned to the right. This might sound a bit off to you, and that's because they're both on screen.
With what I've done in my own time.
Yes, we love self-starters. They're the foundation of our company.
You'll see here where I played back the audio where the actor on the left-hand side was panned to the left and the actor on the right-hand side was panned to the right. That sounds very unnatural, especially when you have headphones on, because that can create many issues and it's not what you're used to seeing. If the screen is in front of you and the subject of the sound is on screen, then you want to make sure that your panning is centered. If it is off screen, then you can pan it to the corresponding side. There are certain times, however, where it does make sense to have an item that's moving across the screen to have some automated panning. That automation will help represent the movement. However, when you're working with audio and specifically dialogue, you always want to make sure that if it is on screen, it is panned centered. When working with audio, you of course want to make sure that your dialogue and other sound elements are playing back at the correct level. One thing that you can do to check it is use your sound meters. The meters for your sound levels can show an assortment of different things. However, typically they'll start with a 0 at the top and then decrease down to -60 or even -infinity. When playing back your dialogue, you typically want to make sure that that is sitting around the -12 area.
I know I don't have a lot of, internship experience, but I think I make up for that with what I've done in my own time.
You'll see as we're playing back, the green line is hitting in the approximate -10 to 15 area. Because it's in between those, we can assume it's around that -12 area. You'll also see that that orange bar is peaking as high as -5. However, the audio never clips. Clipping is when your audio hits the red meter. If I turn this audio clip all the way up, it will now clip.
So I know I don't have a lot of, internship.
You can now see that the audio has clipped because it has hit the top of the meter here. Once that goes away, the meter is reset and ready to register the next clip. Clipping is digital distortion that happens when the audio becomes too loud, and it is something that you want to make sure that you prevent from happening. You'll notice that these sound waves here are much larger than the corresponding ones following in the sequence. To make sure that your audio editing sounds cohesive and consistent throughout the piece, you can use automation while you're working with your audio. If you're familiar with keyframes in your editing software, automation is extremely similar to that. You simply add a point onto the automation line, and you're now able to adjust each point individually, which will move the fader up and down. You'll see as I adjust each one of these points that the meter will adjust the same way. It can create a custom audio editing experience so that way you can adjust for each word that the actor says if you need to get that in depth.
They're the foundation of our company.
Oh, cool.
The best thing about this line of work is you get to be your own boss.
Oh, yeah? And what is it that you guys do again?
You can see the fader for the audio meter is moving at the same time and matching our automation. And that's how automation works. It is adjusting that fader automatically for you so that way you do not have to do that live as if it were on an old analog console. A few notes to make sure we had no pops, clicks, or other issues while piecing together our audio from multiple different clips is if I zoom in, you'll be able to see that I have either a crossfade or just a standard fade on the beginning and end of each individual clip that's playing back. That ensures that I have no clicks, pops, or other issues while listening to the audio. Those are a common occurrence that can be had from the way that the software reads the audio files and plays it back. To help smooth out the rest of our audio editing, we'll also add in the ambiance that we'll have playing. Ambiance is typically made from when you're receiving room tone on set. Room tone is something that you want to make sure that you record at the end of shooting at each location. All you need is for everybody on set to be quiet for 30 seconds while you hit record and make sure that you're recording that room tone. Room tone is the noise made by just the mics picking up the natural sound of the location. We'll now listen back to the clip with the ambiance muted and unmuted as we go. Watch on the left-hand side for that solo button to light up and turn off. Every time it lights up, that means that you're hearing the audio with the ambiance playing in the background. We'll start with ambiance.
So I know I don't have a lot of, internship experience, but I think I make up for that with what I've done in my own time.
Yes, we love self-starters. They're the foundation of our company.
Oh, cool.
The best thing about this line of work is you get to be your own boss.
Oh, yeah?
Ambiance helps add that part of that cohesiveness when you're cutting back and forth between clips. That's why it's always nice to have one consistent track of ambiance, so that way when you're in that set location, it doesn't change, and it helps the viewer stay grounded in that location. You'll notice our ambiance is much quieter than the rest of our audio. It's the bottom layer of all of the audio that we hear because it is the quietest and it's the most in the background. The final piece we'll be adding into this audio clip is the music. When working with your music, you always want to work with your director and decide whether the music is the priority of the scene or if it is in the background, underneath the dialogue, or even lower underneath the sound effects and just a faint noise in the background. In this case, it was lower than the dialogue, however, not too faint because we want the audience to feel the mystery and the uniqueness of the music and what our actor is going through as he's trying to find his job.
But I think I make up for that with what I've done in my own time.
Yes, we love self-starters. They're the foundation of our company.
Oh, cool.
The best thing about this line of work is you get to be your own boss.
Oh, yeah? And what is it that you guys do again?
Well,
Adding in the music is one of the more relatively simple things to do once you have the music selected. The hardest part of working with music is getting the actual musical selection. In this case, we had the ability to work with a composer. However, we also use songs throughout this film that were found online, and we had the rights to use them. When looking at the levels of our music, you'll notice that it's much quieter than our dialogue.
But I think I make up for that with what I've done in my own time.
yes, we love self-starters. They're the foundation of...
When you're trying to put music underneath the audio or dialogue in the film, you typically want it to be approximately half as loud. That means that when our dialogue is at that -12 mark, our music will be at the -24 mark. Right now, it's sitting between the 20 and 25, so that's a good indication that our music is at approximately the correct level. Remember, when I'm talking about these numbers with the audio, the final call is always with your ears and what you believe sounds correct and how you want your film to sound. These numbers are a good guideline or starting point, however, they are not exact and not to be taken as law, just a strict or strong guideline. The final piece of audio in this shot is the sound effect for the spoons. For this sequence, because the spoons were too loud when I recorded them on set, I just grabbed an assortment of utensils that had the same materials as what were used in the shot, and I put them down on a table to create this same sound. Here's the sound on its own. When you hear that sound, you'll notice that it sounds extremely similar to what's happening on screen. Now, when you play back the scene with the spoon sound, you'll hear the nice sound of those spoons hitting the table.
Selling these door to door.
What?
You now have a completed scene with a simple sound effect added as well as music being played back. This has been a simple introduction to audio editing for films. Thank you very much for watching.